Hello, welcome to another episode. So today at the barn we've got this room here which you saw me clean out in episode 3, I think, maybe 4, not really sure. So at the moment all I've got is a container for all of my storage, and this room here probably won't be done until the very end of the project, because it's got its own separate roof on. I'm going to stick a temporary roof up there so that we've got an extra storeroom. I bought that tower last week, so that's been sitting outdoors since I bought it. I think I need to get it indoors so that the boards don't rot. That's the plan today. Taken down a few walls now, saved a good amount of bricks. Now thinking to myself, that wall there ends up completely encapsulated by the time the build is done. So I'm going to talk to the historian lot, whoever they may be, whoever's on the end of the emails, and see if we can just take that one down complete. And in that way we'll end up with loads more bricks to do all the repairs on the other places. And if it's never going to be seen anyway, can't really see a lot of point in keeping it up. It would just mean that I'd have to build a stud wall either side of it, you know, to cover it up, and just a waste of materials and time really. So if I can take that down, that'll be a bonus, but we'll have to ask them first because I don't own my own house apparently. We've got to keep them lot happy. Took a few beams down last weekend on that room so that one's ready for the brickies. We've got the brickies starting in 2 weeks, so that's a bit exciting, if I'm honest. It'll be nice to see some stuff going forwards rather than backwards. So yeah, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just level out this little bit of ground here with the digger so that I can create a nice little work area, and get all my tools set up, do a bit of carpentry because I'm a carpenter. So let's go for it. Right, so I've done that. We just flatten that out with a digger a bit, run the compactor over it, just because there were so many little bits of mud just sticking up. I know one of my viewers in particular would twist his ankles just watching this video if I did it like that, so you know who you are. But yeah, let's get the tools off the van and then work out how we're going to do it. Right, so what I wanted to do here, I've got a bit of just 4x2 for now. I just wanted to work out what type of angle we could get using the same length of wood that I've bought. But the wood that I've bought is 8x2. I didn't want to try and hold that up here to try and guess because it's quite heavy. So we can just get this roughly up here. It looks to me like that sort of angle is going to fit quite well. So if I can strap a wall plate across here on that level there, and then my timbers can sit on top of that, sail over the end there. Yeah. So the reason I've bought 8x2 is because I didn't want to waste any timber. If I did this in 4x2 it probably wouldn't be strong enough. If I did it in 6x2 it wouldn't be big enough for the final roof that's got to sit here. So I thought I'd do it in 8x2 and I'm not going to cut any bird's mouths or into it in case the angle's wrong, or you know, we haven't got an angle confirmed yet. We are trying to drop the angle quite a bit from these existing parapets because we want to try and get windows in this area to serve the back bedrooms that are sitting the other side of this wall. So I imagine the pitch of these roofs will be something similar to what this bit of 4x2 is sitting at now. But like I said, if I go ahead and cut birds' mouths and the wall plate changes slightly, or this wall plate changes slightly, we're going to have some unusable timber. So we'll keep this as temporary as possible in order to reuse the materials once we do it permanently. So we'll get some bits out. I'll just run and get a pencil and mark this level here, and I'll start strapping that plate to the wall so that we've got something to sit this side of the timber on. Right then, so I've got my bit of timber. The timber is 4.8 long, 4.8 metres long, and the actual wall to wall is 4.9, so we haven't got to cut it. What I have done, because I'm working by myself today, is pre-drilled it, making sure that you get one of the holes somewhere near the centre, so that it makes it easier to fit by yourself. So this has got to sit there, and if you start with your centre one, he says, start with your centre one, doesn't matter if the others are in line. So I pre-drilled them with a 7mm drill bit, masonry drill bit, and that just makes it easier for you to get straight through into it. I've got some brown plugs in my pocket, and I've got some stainless steel 5x100 screws. So we'll just get this one in, get that started. It's quite important that you load up with everything that you need if you're working by yourself, so that you haven't got to keep going up and down, changing your mind about what you're doing. So we can now offer that up with that screw all the way through. Don't get me wrong, it's still difficult, but it's doable. You should be able to then, there's a little bit of ivy in the corner there. It's going to stop me getting that level. But if you just work so that you're roughly there. I mean, I'm not going to chuck a level across it at this point, just because it's only temporary. That just allows you to spin it on that first plug and get your second plug in. And then with all the other plugs, because I've drilled 7mm through the wood as well, you can just punch them all the way through the wood and into the wall with your screw. Now, it doesn't feel like it's got the most amazing grip in there, just because this brick is so soft. What I might have to do in a couple of positions is just put a sort of a 6 by 120mm screw, or, you know, just beef them up a little bit if I don't feel like the overall pull is enough. I've got to get rid of that bit of ivy first, so that corner goes back. And watch the hammer. Yeah, that's better. And then with this one, because you can't move the timber, if you grab one of your screws, and if I can get it, one of my plugs, put that plug into the timber and bang it in, and then you can put your screw inside the plug. Because they're stainless steel screws, they're quite soft, so it's not going to punch it through how we want it to, I don't think. No, it's just going to bend the screws up, so we're going to get some different screws on this, because that's useless. Right, so let's start that little section again, shall we? So I've now picked up some 6 by 100 gold screws like you get from Screwfix. That gets us right through the timber and into the wall. And that is a lot nicer grab. You don't want to overdo it in this soft brick because it will just pull the plug straight out. But I can feel that's got that nice and firm. So I ignored a bit about some 5 by 100 stainless steels because they didn't work nicely. And that's got to be one of the most frustrating bits about being a chippy or any tradesman, where you just can't get a good fixing on something. I've come across a few walls like that before, where you end up just giving up in the end. But obviously if a customer wants something fitted to a wall and you haven't done it, you don't earn any money. So there's always a way. Sometimes it takes about 6 times to get it right. I think if I get over to this end next, and then eventually we'll work our way back to the middle and replace them 2 that are in the middle. I can see, because that wood was slightly bananaed, and I think there's a belly on the wall as well, the screws that I've now put in up that end have already pulled the 2 stainless ones out of the wall, so they didn't have a very good grip at all. bit of timber there, strapped over there on the wall. That's what the top of our raft is going to sit on. And then we've got this wall here, which isn't fantastic, but see that little bit of brick there, and then these parts here, we should, if I clean that off a little, be able to just rest the timber all the way across there for our other timbers to sit on, and the weight of the roof should really be enough to hold that all down. Because of that window there, we're not going to get any trapped wind under it, so it's very unlikely to lift. But what I could do is just get a few screws in the first rafters anyway, into this wall and into that wall, which will hold this end of the structure down. Might even put some metal strapping on it as well, just to anchor it down to the walls. So that's the next job. Right, so I'll give it a little clean off. I mean, it's temporary, isn't it? So I think that'll have to do. I don't fancy the wall much. I mean, it's looking pretty rank, isn't it? But the outside looks fairly solid, and I think it's enough just to take the weight of this, you know, just for a temporary storeroom. Don't try this at home. Okay. Right, so I've just got to do that times 10. Okay. Okay, so we've got that one in. We've got that one in. I'm just going to bang the rest in. Nice little tip when you're setting out anything like this. Basically, I've seen it done on site before where someone sets something up like this and then they just go 400 centres, 400 from that timber, or from that timber 400 centres. But actually when you get your sheet up there, sometimes you get 1220 sheets, sometimes you get 1200 sheets. So always check the width of your material first. I've got a couple of different whips in here because I'm doing this with material that has been left over, but I've got all of this sort of 9mm, couple of sheets of 11 here. It's not going to make much of a difference on this temp bit, but I know that these ones are 1200 and these ones are 1220. So you just got to keep that in mind when you're doing your distances. And what I like to do is I like to go from a set point, and the walls are a bit bendy in here. This is probably the best wall to go by. But if we say that we're starting a sheet touching that brickwork up there, and what I'll do is I'll measure along to 1200, wherever that sits. And then that 1200 will be the centre of that timber, because that's where the first sheet will come along and sit on. And then you measure your 400 centres away from that timber. So that end one's always going to be wrong. The end one catches the sheet however it catches it. But it just means that everywhere from the edge of a sheet is calculated at 400 centres then to catch your sheet. And then if you are working with 1220 sheets, then go to something like a 408 centre or 407 centre, so that you pick up all of the centre of your sheets. Again, if you just do 400 centres all the time, which is the the standard, then you're going to be trimming a lot of your sheets down if you're using 1220s. So yeah, just work it out to your sheet size rather than what the book tells you, because 400 centres doesn't work all the time. Right, a little bit of a confession, but I worked it out for 600s earlier at the timber yard rather than 400s, so it's going in at it's going in at 600s now, because timber yard shut and I'm not going to go down there for 3 extra bits of timber. So I'm just going to show you what I meant about the measurements. So I've come away from the wall there, because obviously that, so I'll just try and get this camera angle right, try and do this one-handed. So if you imagine the board is going to touch that wall over there, and then if you come down to this timber, my 1200 boards will sit somewhere in the middle of that. So then you go back to that one's set up at 400 now, but I'm going to move that along to 600, and then this next one is then set at 1800. So you can see how I do it, because the next board is then going to go from here. 1800 will be its midpoint, and then I'll set one up at 2400 to catch the middle of that board. So we'll keep going with these now, nailing them off down the bottom as we go as well, or I'm using screws actually, so that I can unwind them again easier, and start getting some boards up in a bit. Okay, so we now got them spaced out 600 centres, and they're all screwed, and they're still a bit wobbly because obviously they're not bird's mouthed in and they're not fitted properly, but they'll do for what we need for now. I'm going to put a little upright support there in the middle of that window, just so that that 4x2's got a bit more strength. But now we'll chuck some boards up there, start getting it boarded out. I'm gonna have an accident. Right then, so you can see what we're going for now. I still haven't fixed that one down properly, but basically going to put the screws. It doesn't quite reach the edge there, but I've got a little strip of something that I can put down the edge there. But yeah, basically we've got 8 boards to put on in total, done 2 already. So I'll give you a catch up at the end to show you the thing fully boarded. Look at the view, by the way. Not as warm as that suggests it is. It's about 3 degrees. Okay, so it's getting near the end of the day, but we're all boarded out. Last thing to do for me is to get that felt down there. I'm just going to roll it out, starting from the bottom so that the overlap's good. Roll it out up to the top there and just staple it in. And I know the staples are going to be a weak point, you know, when it comes to water penetrating it, but for now it'll do, I think. I might put some battens sort of running up and down vertically, just to sort of direct the water and to keep it from blowing away when we get the strong winds, but I think this will do us good. Okay, we're all felted up. What I've done is I've drawn blue lines so that I know roughly where to tread, because I don't quite tread 12mm. 12mm very much on the dodgy side to be treading in between 600mm span. So all of the blue lines there that you can see are where our rafters are. But that's it basically. I'm gonna quickly chuck a few battens on here and screw them through so that it stands a better chance in the wind. But anyway, I'm knackered, so I'm going to go indoors and have a beer, and that's the end of the episode. So thanks for watching again. If you can subscribe and like the video, then that'd be great. Chuck us a comment as well, let me know you're watching. I always like hearing that some of my old mates are watching, or some of my family are watching, so chuck us a comment, and I'll see you on the next episode. See you later.